maintaining a website, keeping up to date on social media, and making a brand for your team. Feel free to ask questions during the presentation, but there will also be time at the end for questions.
Alright, the first thing your team should do as a part of reaching out to sponsors is making a business plan that gives an overview of your team history, your team's proposed budget for the season, and the benefits of being a sponsor. A business plan is a great resource to show sponsors that you're a professional team. It also tells how much money their money will be spent if they were to donate. Here are some examples from our business plan. On the side, you can see that we have an overview of our team's history and any potential sponsors, the accomplishments of our team. Sponsors love to see the competitions you've been in and the awards you've won.
The next part of our business plan is benefits of being a sponsor. This page shows people how their investment will not only help us as a team, but also them as a sponsor. This slide also displays the benefits that we gain by being on a robotics team. The final part of our business plan includes what our projected budget will be for this upcoming season, and we factor in materials, tools, registration fees, and other tournament costs into this plan. We have this piece of our plan to show sponsors how their money will be put to good use.
So once you have a business plan, there are a ton of different ways to connect and reach out to sponsors. One of the easiest ways is to email sponsors that you already have and sponsors you want to recruit. You can have a generic email that you send to the majority of people that just gives a general overview of who you are, what you do, and when you need the money. You can also write or type up letters to potential sponsors, letting people know who you are and what you do. To make a better connection, you can also meet up with sponsors and give them demonstrations of your robot and tell them more about your team. So this is how we usually format our emails. At the beginning, we introduce ourselves and tell them about our team, history, important details. Then we explain exactly why we need the money and how we will incorporate it into our team. Then we add in some links, bringing them to things such as our website, email, GoFundMe, any important things we want them to see. Then you thank them for their consideration of your team and taking the time to listen to you. And then here is an example of a standard email or letter that we send to our sponsors. And this one specifically is about our upcoming trip to China.
Opportunities for fundraising. There are many different events that you can do for fundraisers, such as going to your local restaurants and asking for them to host an event for you. I know we've done 2 events like this recently. One was at Rack Shack in Minneapolis, and the other one was at Green Mill in Lakeville. We got about $80 to $100 each time we went to these restaurants from the proceeds from the meals that people ate, and we got around $200 in tips each time we went. We had like a tip jar out, and when people learned about us, they just gave us money towards our cause. Other things you can do is you can contact your local media. We set up an interview with Fox 9, and they did a segment on us. They played it 3 times in like over a span of 2 days, and we saw a huge spike in the amount of people that were visiting our website and donating to our GoFundMe page. You can also contact your local newspapers. We've done this too, and we've gotten some responses from that as well. Finally, the last thing you can do is you can go out in the community and demonstrate your robot and show people what you and your robot can do. This is a really great way to meet sponsors.
So one thing that we've done while fundraising for China is something called snail mail. So what we did was one of our coaches had a list of about 300 local companies in Eagan where we're based out of. And you can also find a list for wherever you live at your local library. So we, in the generic email letter that we showed you before, that's what we printed 300 different copies of. And then we stuffed all the envelopes ourselves and then hand wrote all the return addresses and addresses they were going to. It took from like 6 in the evening to like 1 in the morning, but it was also a really, really great bonding activity for our team because it ended up just being like, we were just playing music and then like dancing while we were stuffing the envelopes. So it was a really fun activity for our team as well. A lot of
applying for grants with a major company is that they usually require a 501c3 status. A 501c3 status is a special tax status that you file with the government. If your team is looking into a 501c3, you may want to check with your school robotics booster club. They may have a 501c3 that you can raise money through. If your team is not associated with a school or company, then filing for a 501c3 may be a better option. GoFundMe is a great way to raise money and is a large part of our fundraising. Here are some tips to help you get started. At the very front, you should have a thorough description. First, give a small description of your team with general information on what makes your team special. After that, have a detailed description of what you're trying to accomplish and explain where the money will be going. Make sure the description is complete, but don't drag it out. After that, we recommend having an update section with updates for large milestones and fundraising so sponsors can see how you're doing, and updates like large events and new information like videos. We also recommend about 6 levels of donation rewards. For lower donations, have the reward simple like a thank you email or a team picture. But for large donations, have the reward be meaningful, like your private demonstration or the name on the back of your t-shirt. Make sure to get the word out. Put it on social media, like a link in your bio, or a tweet on Facebook with milestones. And make sure to tell everyone in advance. And one last note is that GoFundMe does take 7.9% of your fundraising and 30 cents per donation. Hopefully these tips will help you navigate GoFundMe.
Websites. Why do you need a website? Your website should be the promotional hub for your team. Send potential sponsors and donors to your website. Everything that they need to know to make a donation should be readily accessible. From links to your social media accounts to more about First as a program. A website can give you more connections with people out in the real world, and it's not hard to get started. There are lots of free website design platforms that are easy to use and help you make a professional-looking website. Personally, we've chosen Weebly. There's other options like Wix, but through drag and drop programming or design, we've made a user-friendly website that's easy to navigate. So some of the pages that you should include on your website are up on the slide here. Your homepage is your first impression. It should show the most important info about your team. On our homepage, we're going to show you our website right now. But once you get to our website, you're going to see a welcome to our site and a small donate button underneath. We put the donate button on the front page so that people don't have to search through our entire website to be able to donate. And then, here we go. Here we go. Alright, so there's the welcome and then the donate button underneath. Underneath that, we have an update for our team. So sponsors like to know what you've been doing lately. That's a great way to show them. And if you scroll down, you can see our social media feeds are underneath. Get to our Twitter and our GoFundMe pages. And then on the next pages, like About Us. This is our team history and tells a little bit more about your team. So sponsors like to get to know you a little bit better. And then underneath that, we have a little bit more about each team member. On your What is FTC page, this is for people that just kind of want to know more about First as a program and the competitions that we compete at. On this page, you can kind of put a link there to the first page so that they can go directly there and learn more about it. The Contact Us page, I believe, is one of the most important pages on your entire website because I know it's really frustrating when you go to a team's website and there's no possible way to contact them. Like when you're reaching out to them for community outreach or trying to get in contact them for scouting. You can just put like a contact form on there that's linked to your email so that when people try to contact you, you'll just get an email. That's
Social media is a huge part of promotion for your team. So here are some things to think about when you're making your team's social media statement. We recommend using Twitter and Facebook for updating and talking about what your team is doing. For Instagram, we recommend using it for pictures from events or from competition. Make sure to update frequently with upcoming community outreach events and fundraising events, milestones with fundraising, and how you did a competition or exciting things happening to your team. Call should be spelled correctly. and should be grammatically correct with little texting language. They should be simple, but with all the information needed, and the picture should be clear. And last but not least, have fun. Make your team social media stand out amongst the rest.
So this is just a little branding game. So it's going to show images of only certain parts of a company logo, and if anyone can guess what the company is, just shout it out.
Nike. McDonald's. Apple. Starbucks.
These companies are very, very different, but they do have one thing in common. They're very, very good at branding, as you can tell by how you could all guess each branding.
What is branding, you may be asking? The definition of branding from entrepreneur.com is the marketing practice of creating a name, symbol, or design that identifies and differentiates a product from other products. Well, obviously, FTC teams are not products, but the same definition can apply to how your team presents itself. Brands are all about being unique and recognizable. Your team name, logo, uniforms, and even attitudes to represent you as a team. It's a lot easier to tell what team you come from if you all have something in common. It could be anything from t-shirts, shoes, pants, anything to show that you're all part of a team. Another important thing to remember about branding is to keep things consistent. The Green Girls, each year we change our outfits a ton, but the one thing that we can keep consistent each year is our green fuzzy top hats. And we have tried finding different hats that do not make us as hot and sweaty as our current ones do. But we realize that people remember us by our hats, so getting rid of them would make us lose a part of our brand. And brand doesn't have to be uniforms either. It could also be your team's outlook or attitude towards competitions, the way you treat other teams or judges at the competition. And this is really important because judges often observe teams to see how gracious towards one another and other participants they are being. And here are some resources that would be helpful for you to use. Again, this presentation is going to be on our website. We're videotaping it right now, but it'll also be in a PDF so that you can go to these and find more about marketing and fundraising. Do you guys have any questions?
I'm curious how you guys divide the labor on this and what kind of time your team is putting into this.
So for this, we have me, who's the community outreach captain. So I organize everything and make sure everything gets done, but the entire team works on writing up the business plan or talking to sponsors. We all contribute to making sure the marketing and fundraising gets done.
And also, when we're sending emails out to potential sponsors, we make sure that when someone thinks of a company, that they're writing it down themselves, so that we don't just hand it off to Erica. We do it ourselves too.
How much time?
We do a little bit, pretty much at every single practice, but we also continue through the summer. So Erica spends a lot of her time during the practice working on that. So I would say about an hour each practice.
And Erica, do you work on other areas too, like the?
I do work on other areas too. It's just my main focus is on community outreach. I help with the attachments, and then I help with the engineering notebook. Everyone on the team makes sure to do a little bit of everything.
So the donate button does link directly to our GoFundMe page. The GoFundMe link underneath is kind of more of like a visual for it. So if the bar changes to show how much we've actually raised. We haven't really found it to be an issue that they take that much off. It's just kind of it's we have found it's really easy because people can just do it online. We don't have to be there in person for them to do that. We haven't really looked into setting up a PayPal, so we have a bank account though. So
you're part of a much larger robotics organization. You've done a great job setting yourselves apart from that. What was the challenges you ran into to do that?
can you specifically like what do you mean challenges?
The Egan
Yeah.
robotics organization is very large,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a great identity of just Greenville and not being tied to the overall. There's multiple teams there. So, did you run into challenges, or did you not have any challenges at all separating the identity just for your team?
Well, we were an FLL team before we became an FTC team, and as an FLL team, we weren't a part of the Egan Robotics program.
I see.
So, we were part of Thomson Reuters.
Sponsored.
So you had your identity before you became
Yes.
an FTC team.
What would you recommend to brand new teams who are new to all of the robotics that didn't come from FL, and they just started a team, and you just get your team number and they just start now? What would you recommend for them to help doing for fundraising or anything like that, who are not sponsored by schools, who are doing it on their own?
A lot of the coaches can help with this too. So when at your jobs you have like connections and other contacts that you can reach out to, and your team itself can reach out to them and talk to them, tell them what you do, why you need the money. Basically, the business plan you send them that. It's a good way to start with connections. But you can also look for like technology companies in your area too. They're all really interested in this.
And you also should make a website for your team to get your name out there. And also you can try reaching out to other teams and they'd be willing to help you get started and help you, they can teach you more stuff. So
shoot us an email too.
yeah, you can always contact us. So you can just go to our website and email us.
Or just sending companies
Emails is just one of the easiest things to do. I mean, it helps if you do have a connection to that company, like say your parent has a friend who works in that company, or your parent works in that company. It's nice to have that connection too, and save that connection in the email. But also, you can just go to specifically technical companies. Any company that really would support technology, you can just shoot them an email, tell them about your team, local businesses, anything like that.
Did you have good success going outside of your area?
Yes, we have gone into different cities to do different events, such as we've gone to the Pacer Center in Bloomington. It's a center for children with disabilities, and we've done a couple of camps there. We've gone to Rap Shack. That was in St. Paul. We did a fundraiser there. We've done Greenville and Lakeville. So yeah, it's really easy to just connect with people outside.
Oh yeah, in November we're going to China. So at the World Competition, we had someone come up and talk to us, and we applied to go to the competition, and we actually were accepted. So we're traveling to Beijing this November for outreach. And it doesn't have to be on that huge of a scale, especially for your first year, but it's good to have contacts and stuff like that. It usually depends on how serious the team wants to be, because if a team needs more money for another event, they're gonna take some of the funding away from the other team. So it's sometimes nice to have separate funds if you're doing separate events, but if you're doing everything together, it might be nice to have it all in one.
And if you want to share sponsors, you can definitely do that. Just make sure you're telling the sponsor we have 2 teams that you'll be supporting, and feel free to contact either of us. So yeah, you can definitely share. Just let your sponsors know and just make it work.
can just email us.
Did everyone see our website? Does anyone else need to copy our website down?
I can write it down. Does anyone want to see any slides that they might have missed? See, our website's the top one.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.